Good morning, Kansas City Royals fans. Yeah, that was too loud to catch on the microphone. Sorry about that, if we blew your ears out. Good morning to 1 Million Cups. My name is Brian. I'm here with Courtney and Milton, and we are 3 of your 5 community organizers here today, and we'd like to welcome you. Who's here for the first time? Great, welcome. Great to have you. Thank you for joining us. So 1 Million Cups is a weekly educational program. We're in over 60 cities right now, and we're actually welcoming Detroit, Michigan, and Yankton, South Dakota. I've never been to Yankton, South Dakota, but I've heard only good things. So welcome to those 2 cities, to the 1 Million Cups family. So we are a weekly educational program where we bring 2 entrepreneurs to the podium and they share their entrepreneurial journey and the project that they're working on. And our goal is to ask them some challenging questions and learn from their entrepreneurial experience. So we have 3 panelists over here. I'd like to give them a chance to say hello and introduce themselves. They're going to start off the questions after each presenter. Tina.
Good morning. My name is Tina Peterson. I work at the Sprint Accelerator. I'm in charge of entrepreneurship and developer programs. And I think that's it.
Wow, that was easy. Hey, I'm Ryan Weber. I'm president of an organization called KC Next. It's the tech council here in Kansas City. We have about 130 member companies. Many of them are tech companies. We do a lot of things, including connect companies, which is probably why I'm here too. And then in a previous life, worked at an angel investment group.
Hi, my name is Lance Windhals. I am also one of the 1 Million Cups organizers. My day job is software development. I'm a little bit of a serial entrepreneur, so I've got a line of sunglasses I'm coming out with, t-shirt line, liquor store, software development. So yeah, those are fun. Keep me busy.
Sorry to hear that liquor store keeps pulling you back in and restock the shelves. Let's get started. Today we're going to start with Mark Machuda from Omaha. He's here to present On the Go. Let's hear it for Mark. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Good morning, everybody. So I'm Mark Machuda. I'm the founder and CEO of Call on the Go. We help salespeople make more money in less time. Before I reveal how we do that, I'm going to tell you a quick story about how we came to that. So I started my career at Motorola as an engineer, and I fell in love with mobile technology. I'm a super geek. Well, I shortly moved on into this sales engineering role. It's kind of like a geek supporting salespeople to sell technology. Anyway, I learned a lot as a sales engineer. We're constantly on the go. We had lots of calls to make, lots of notes to take, constantly updating our CRM. And the big frustration that we had is for an outside salesperson, bouncing on airplanes, flying all over the country and traveling, we found out that the sales process is broken. And so let me just kind of walk through with you what an outside salesperson, at least in my role, would go through on a daily basis. So I would print off a spreadsheet of people that I needed to call every single day, like leads, prospects, customers, follow-up calls, whatever, you name it. And then I would manually dial all these phone calls. Does anybody love manually dialing cold calls? Yeah, it's painful. So to make matters worse, I would try to take notes on the fly, and it would usually end up being scribble. Then I would review the activity and enter this data into a CRM. So all these different steps were quite painful and disjointed. And I knew there had to be a better way. And ladies and gentlemen, that's how Call on the Go was born. It was created to automate this entire process. So it's a simple mobile app that automatically dials your leads or prospects or people that you need to get in touch with. We track all the activity intelligently so we can pull interesting things from it, like what's the best time to call, what's the best day to call, like really sophisticated analytics. And then of course that is automatically entered into your CRM, whether it be Salesforce or a homegrown tool or whatever you have. This is where our user experience begins. It's just a simple mobile app. You press one button. It skips the people that you already had a conversation with, guaranteeing you have a conversation with each and every person that you're trying to get in touch with. Whether you're inside or outside the office, you're no longer blind as to who you're talking with or who's calling you. So, for example, Hugh Jackman is calling me back, and from our little notes window, I know that we had a conversation on February 25th. I sent him a proposal, and I also set up a demo for him. So maybe he's calling me for a purchase order. And of course, I could take notes before, during, or after the call to just keep everything tightly organized and automated. So after you're on the go and traveling around on your business trips, when you get a chance to log in to Call on the Go, this is what's waiting for you. Activity and analytics on everything that you've done to make you the best salesperson possible. Let's look at our customer, John. So John had a problem. They're performing really poorly on Fridays. And looking at the analytics, he decided to spend a couple extra hours calling on Tuesday and Wednesday, take Fridays off to go play golf, and when you know it, he actually has better results. So how big is this opportunity? How big is the marketplace? This is a giant $46 billion market, okay? Some of our biggest users happen to be in the insurance industry, real estate agents, but of course we're not limited to those spaces. So telemarketing and auto dialing, it's been around for 30 some years. So how is Call on the Go different? Well, let me explain. When I had this problem as a sales engineer, I looked for a solution. I couldn't find it. And what I found is two choices. Either a very complex telemarketing system that's more geared for call centers and inside sales, or a simple, dumbed down, limited mobile app that really wasn't a good fit. So I needed something like a hybrid, something in the middle. So Call on the Go is the best of both worlds, essentially. It's a very simple pricing model. It's software as a service. So it's a monthly subscription. We help the sales rep sell by automating his painful, tedious tasks. And we help the sales manager manage and lead his team to sell more. You can create an account in 3 easy steps. As far as traction goes, we launched not too long ago, and we've had over 3,000 downloads. We're in 14 different countries. We even have paying customers. We also had one of the largest cell phone carriers in the US approach us and say, hey, this is very cool. We like what you're doing. In fact, we want to resell your technology to millions of our subscribers. So we actually have a revenue share deal with a large cellular carrier. So thanks for listening. My name is Mark Machuda, founder and CEO of Call on the Go. If you want to hear more about this, please take my number down and give me a call on the go.
Thank you, Mark. All right, panelists, who's going to start for us?
Hey, Mark, this is really cool. I did a little research on this before today, and I make a ton of sales calls. And nobody likes making sales calls. And if they do, they're probably not very good at it. It's just not natural, like calling people, calling strangers. You know, for our company, though, like we don't integrate with Salesforce. We have our own platform. You know, are you totally platform agnostic? So can I upload essentially our contact sheet and be ready to go by the end of today?
Yeah, in 60 seconds you can get set up and started for sure.
How would it know sort of who I'm supposed to call? Is there any way, I mean, how am I going to let it know who's cold, who's warm, and who's ready to turn into a...
So you segment those groups and you determine, like, this group is, I don't know, follow-up for free trials. This group is prospects or past customers. So you kind of create those campaigns, essentially.
Do you have a Salesforce plugin? Because obviously that's a huge market. So if I'm already using Salesforce, I can immediately plug in to this app because they have something similar, don't they?
Yeah. So to answer your question, we plug into every CRM in the world. We have open API and integrate with third-party tools, so you don't need a coder or anything to hook up to Salesforce. And yeah, you're right, there are competitive tools out there, but what I've found is they are more for a sophisticated inside sales team that is gonna be okay with being glued to a desk. In fact, if you're glued to a desk all day, I wouldn't recommend this product. But if you're more of an outside salesperson where you wanna be freed and unchained from your desk, this is a perfect product for you.
Tracy.
So besides the carrier that you're working with, what is the distribution model? How do people find you?
So I've been experimenting with that. Like, how can I get this out in the world as fast as possible, right? So I tried selling one-to-one, just calling up or emailing different real estate agents and insurance agents. And, we were moving really slowly there. But then when we would do a partnership with a cell phone carrier with millions of subscribers and potentially, thousands of paying customers, that by far is the best distribution model for us. So it's a long-winded answer, but partnering with CRMs for revenue share, and then also partnering with cell phone carriers.
Lance.
So I love the idea, and I think you kind of touched on this just now. So are you guys going to, moving forward, focus more on a B2B or B2C sales model?
Yeah, this is absolutely a B2B sales model and tool for sure, yeah.
Cool.
Can we get a mic? Can we pass you a mic, sir?
I may have missed it, but is this something that you're basing upon the web interface on the phone, or iOS, or
All of the above.
So do you have a group of developers that you maintain, contracted out, or what?
Yeah, my team we're all engineers, and so we all just build this stuff.
Sorry, an occupational hazard. I used to work for telcos too long.
Great. Do we have any? Okay, Mark.
Hey, so the pricing is kind of interesting too, because a lot of the other sort of CRM platforms that have mobile integration are pretty much free. So you're not. So it's kind of a premium model. Essentially, I mean, your function's way different than some of those, but on paper, it kind of looks like some of those other platforms where I can upload a lot of that information into a mobile app. But have you gotten any resistance from some of your initial users about the costs?
Yeah, I have a theory about that, and I don't think it matters what your cost is. People are always gonna say, "Oh, that's way too expensive. Can you discount it for me?" So that's one comment. But yeah, I wanted to go to market with the premium pricing. I wanted to be the creme de la creme, just because we're really unique. There's nothing out there. I'm still searching for, a call on the go, like direct competitor. This is very unique. And with that said, I feel pretty comfortable with our pricing model, but I think the real scientific way to go about it is simply split testing the pricing to figure out the absolute most profitable price to the penny, which we have not done yet. So maybe you're right. Maybe it should be slashed in half.
No, I'm not saying that. I just thought it's interesting. I mean, obviously, a lot of people usually launch in a freemium situation so that there's adoption, but it doesn't look like you guys did that. I'm not saying it's not right or wrong. It's just I was
Yeah.
wondering if you've had any of that feedback from users that say, we're paying $100, but we're making thousands more, or something like that.
Yeah, we actually, very early on, we did launch with a freemium model. So we just said, use this tool up to 100 phone calls a month, and then you have to start paying. Well, what I found out is that the psychology behind using something for free, they kind of feel like this is not a premium product. They're using it for free, and it just caused a lot of issues getting people to pay after that. It's just kind of it just wasn't a good fit for us.
When did you launch again?
About 12 months ago, we had a very dumbed down MVP.
And you mentioned you had about 600 customers. How long are you seeing your customers stay on? Do you have pretty consistent for turnover, or?
Well, we have a couple. We have two obstacles that we're trying to deal with, and both of them have to do with onboarding. So it's really challenging for us when someone downloads the app, and we have a window that says, "Go log in online and import a spreadsheet." They're like, "What?" And then they don't use it, right? And then the same thing goes with logging in the web app first and onboarding that way. They log in and they can't figure out our import feature or whatever, and so we lose them. Now, if we get past that tipping point, which is they've successfully imported a spreadsheet and they've made some calls and they get it, then we see the usage skyrocket and we got them hooked. So we got to polish up our onboarding process right now.
Cool. Talk to us a little bit more about your team and how you are focusing your team's efforts towards development versus marketing versus sales. How do you balance all of those as a young startup, not only trying to develop an app, but you also got to go sell it?
Yeah, so we definitely lack in the sales department, the sales and marketing department, which doesn't exist. We're just a bunch of computer geeks that love software, and we love building things, especially cool new mobile stuff. And so that's what we did. And yeah, I don't have sales and I don't have marketing, and I'm aware of that, and I'm trying to solve that problem. I'm trying to figure that out. So yeah.
So are you hiring? Are you looking to partner? How do you think you solve that problem?
Well, I think I solve it probably by either A, getting funding, or B, getting so many customers that we have revenue to pay salespeople or marketing people. Or, there's an affiliate model, maybe, we'll see.
So every app has the same problem, and that's that somebody has to download it. So obviously you've thought about it. What is that tipping point you think for going from a couple hundred users to a couple 100,000 users? What is that going to look like?
Well, partnering with these large cell phone carriers and then large CRMs, it's a perfect distribution model. They already have that user base, and they can channel their marketing and sales to the B2B market. And so, right off the bat with one cell phone carrier, the projections are thousands of customers,
Well, I guess what value is the carrier providing? Are they just going to have the app on every device, or just certain kinds of devices in certain markets? Have they kind of segmented that down? I mean, there's all sorts of apps that Apple gave me for free on my iPhone, and I never use them.
Yeah. Well, they have hundreds of sales people specifically for the B2B accounts, and so they're going to be constantly pushing this tool along with maybe a couple others. So it's not this big app store of 10,000 apps. It's like a very vetted, focused toolbox, essentially. So there's that, and there's probably a few dozen other go-to-market strategies that they might have.
We'd like to open up the questions to the audience. So if you have a question, please raise your hand and we'll come around with a mic. I do have a question for you, Mark. Will you please explain your entrepreneurial journey, what got you here, why you started Call on the Go, especially for the students that are here in the audience?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, perfect. Well, I started out my career at a very large corporation. I was at Motorola, and that was a great experience, and I learned a lot. I then started, I had this idea about text message marketing. Do you guys text a lot? Maybe, yeah. So it's kind of an obvious idea. Why don't we use this, as a marketing component? So I first founded this company called Text Hub, and a restaurant or a bar or a church or whatever, they could import a list of contacts and send out an alert for an event or whatever. So that was Text Hub. That did well. That was kind of like my first time at bat being an entrepreneur. And then I kind of was this sales engineer, and I had this pain. I feel like entrepreneurs that solve their own pain or frustration, not only are they in a really good position to solve it, because they are the customer. They are the perfect person to solve that problem. But yeah, so that's just what I did. I had this pain and frustration, which I'm constantly on the go, and I have all these phone calls to make, and I don't want to track who I had a conversation with and who I didn't, and I certainly don't want to take notes on napkins, running around. So yeah, I just kind of solved my own pain here.
Got another question for you in the back to your left.
So the first thing that entered my mind was the implications for the nonprofit world. And I'm wondering if you've done any research into that for the fundraising aspects or volunteers or any of those issues that nonprofit organizations face, trying to keep on top of those, because it is really a sales job when it comes down to it.
Yeah, totally. And it's a numbers game, right? You have a list of donors for a nonprofit or potential donors, and it's like, how can we organically reach them and have a good conversation and get them to buy into the cause? One of my first paying customers for Call on the Go was a political campaign, and so they're kind of using it for fundraising. So yeah, I think it's a great fit, and it would be very useful because you could have, a bunch of stay-at-home people, and you kind of created this telemarketing army, and they're all distributed all over the country. But I have found that the not-for-profit space is hard to sell into. They have long sales cycles. It's really hard to get a yes. It's just really challenging, even though I feel like it is a really great fit.
I've got another question for you here on the left.
All right, so I'm going to preface this with, I'm not a salesperson. However, I am a geek. But that aside, this seems ripe for Salesforce.com, right? I mean, they're the behemoth. You got a plug-in for them. You talked about a strategy to get in front of them, or a hope to. What can you talk about that strategy and how you plan on doing that? Because it seems like either you sell to them or you get their customers somehow, right? Because they're not doing what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Salesforce.com in particular, they do have this app store, and so you can just go through an application process and say like, hey, this is a tool that complements your CRM, and you could have a tighter integration and just like hook in with them. So that's a pretty easy example. Other CRMs that don't have that app store partnership, it would be more of a manual process where we would have to get in touch with their business development people and say like, hey, this call on the go tool really complements your CRM. You guys should totally look into a partnership or integration, something like that.
Question for you here on the left. On one of the screens that you had up there, it showed that the user can actually take notes within the mobile app. Mm-hmm. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. So when Hugh Jackman was calling me, I put down that we had a conversation on February 26th and blah blah blah, and yeah, so you can take notes on the fly, which is a big bonus.
And then does it essentially save it into the application where you can review all of your notes later? Kind of how does that part of it work?
Yeah, exactly. So you're on the go, you just use the phone app, the mobile app, right? But when you log in on the web, you have a beautiful interface like this to actually like review your activity and analytics and figure out, okay, who do I need, like, who am I having the longest conversations with, just different interesting stats. And then like in the contacts tab, you would see just a grid table layout of like all the notes that you've taken, all your activity, to-do list, things like that.
I've got another question for you here in the middle.
Hi, I'm not sure if you're looking at this from a hunter role or a farmer role from a retention perspective, but two things I see. One is if it is for hunters, identifying how do you adhere or help them adhere to do not call laws. And second to that is the hardest part of being a hunter is knowing who to call. So how are you thinking of integrating with any kind of lead qualification companies to allow them to get those warm leads as opposed to those not so warm leads?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good question. In fact, I like using the tool personally to do lead nurturing and like check in with my trialing customers. I just give them a call and I just say, hey, can I help you in any way? So like calling current customers is great for that retention rate, like what you're saying. Now, strictly the hunter aspect, I have talked with some prospects that are like, well, where do I get my leads? Where do I get data from? And we're trying to partner with some different like data.com companies, so you could just define what your target market is, the geographical location. Like, I need dentists in the city of, New York or whatever, and you could just purchase those leads and then import that list into Call on the Go. So we don't help them like acquire that data, but we just kind of point them in the right direction, like if they want to purchase that data. And as far as the do not call list, that's really up to the user. They know what the relationship is. They know, if they should call or not call.
Okay, one final question for you. What can we do as a community to help you?
Wow, yeah, so I guess, if you guys want to give us a great review in the App Store, that would be fantastic. That's probably a really helpful thing. Yeah, just like giving an awesome user review. Or if you know any salespeople, please make an introduction. I'd love to help them out.
Brian, thank you.
Thanks.
All right, we've got just a few announcements here. If you would look at the announcement sheet that you may have grabbed coming in the door, just want to touch on a couple of quick ones. Get in the Ring is coming up. The North American Startup Clash event is happening on Friday, November 7th at 5:30 p.m. It's going to be at the Midland Theater. You can register today. There is a web address on the announcement sheet for you to where you can go and register. This event is all about entrepreneurs, and it's representing Canada, Mexico, and the U.S., and these entrepreneurs will go head-to-head to vie for the championship crown. There's going to be prizes, a trip to complete at the global finals. There's also a list of the panelists there. Compute Midwest is also coming up on November 13th at the Kauffman Center. You can see more information here. And also the ECJC is also hosting an event for email marketing, the good, the bad, and the wow. That's going to be held on October 30th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. You can see more details on the sheet here. And do we have Wendy?
Yeah. Good morning. Hi, I'm Wendy Torrance. I'm with Entrepreneurship here at the Foundation. It's a great day to be in Kansas City, isn't it? Yeah. I work with Kauffman Founder School, which is the Foundation's online education for entrepreneurs. We're releasing a new series starting today. We worked with Bill Reichert, who's a serial entrepreneur and venture capitalist in Silicon Valley, co-founder of Garage Technology Ventures with Guy Kawasaki. We're going to give you a brief preview. Dave, are we going to give a brief preview? Sorry? Okay. Sorry, we're not. On our website is the first video in Bill's series. Cash flow, balance sheets, financial forecasts, budgeting, any of those strike fear in the hearts of any entrepreneurs in the audience? So Bill's series is all about the art of startup finance. Don't let finance be a dark art. Discover the tools that will help you in your business, figuring out what's happening today, what can happen tomorrow, and what should happen in the future. Check it out at kaufmanfounderschool.org. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Wendy. All right, without further ado, we will have our next presenter, Christy Garton from YouChic, which is a for-profit social commerce lifestyle brand for young women, ages 15 to 22, with an important social good goal.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. I saw a lot of students. Where are you guys from? All over? Okay, that's what it sounded like. My company actually works with a lot of young people, so it's great to see you here today. My name is Christy Garton, and I'm here to tell you about my startup, YouChic. We are a for-profit lifestyle brand for young women ages 15 to 22, and we have an important goal. Sure, yes, we want to make money, but we are out to fund the dreams of our consumers through our product sales. But first, a little history. YouChic builds on the success of an online magazine and college guidebook series that I launched for my dorm room when I was in law school, after realizing that there were few resources available for young women at this pivotal life stage. I'm happy to say that insight was pretty good. Over the past few years, We've sold over 100,000 book copies across the country at major retailers. We were on the Today Show, and in fact, there's one of our book titles at a store in Grand Central Terminal in New York City. As founder of UChic, I've worked with hundreds of young women across the country, and I have learned one thing about these ladies. They are driven to succeed. And if you know anyone in this age range, high school or college, you know I'm not kidding. But young women like Caitlin, she's a Rockhurst University student, knows that it's not just about what you learn inside the classroom that counts. It's about what you do outside, those extracurricular activities like study abroad and internships that can truly unlock the path to one's dream. Caitlin dreams of working in the healthcare industry where Spanish as a second language is highly valued. A study abroad program in South America would help her reach her goal of becoming fluent in Spanish. While her student loans cover the cost of the program, she does not have enough money to cover the cost to even fly there. Caitlin's story is not unique. I have a video here that sheds a little more light on this problem and what we're doing as a company to address it.
My dream is to work for Pixar, to be an animator.
To win the Pritzker Prize in architecture.
That I could continue to write songs and make music and to raise money for orphans around the world.
These young women join millions of high school and college-age women across the country who have big goals and dreams for their future. But they know that it's not just about what you learn inside the classroom that counts. It's about what you do outside. Those extracurricular activities and experiences like study abroad, internships, seminars, and conferences that can truly unlock the path to one's dream.
My dream is to work for the United Nations.
When I was little, I always wanted to be an astronaut, go to medical school, and to become an OBGYN.
Hi, my name is Christy Garton, and I'm founder of UChic. It is a for-profit lifestyle brand for young women ages 15 to 22. We went out and talked to our girls and learned that while 85% of them say these experiences are critical to their future success, unfortunately, over 95% of them lack easy access to funding.
I mean, you have to think about your food, you have to think about lodging.
Living in a city like DC is expensive.
And textbooks, especially as a science major, are like incredibly expensive.
UChic's mission is to create fashion-forward and functional product whose product sales will support their goals and dreams through a scholarship program. Here's how our model works. UChic offers stylish products for the high school and college life stage, such as handbags, apparel, school supplies, and accessories. A portion of each sale goes to our foundation, which supports a scholarship fund. Scholarships of up to $1,000 will be available to help fund the extracurricular activities and life-changing experiences that fuel the dreams of young women. I am so excited to announce our first product on Indiegogo. A bag and a collection of bags will be launching this year for the classroom and beyond. Your purchase of this bag will directly support their dreams. We are also setting our first milestone. We are out to fund 1,000 real dreams of real young women across the country. In fact, the girls you've seen featured on this video are the first dreams we're funding. We hope you'll join UChic in our mission to make a difference in the lives of these amazing young women by supporting our campaign to fund 1,000 dreams. Thank you. So yes, we have an Indiegogo campaign going on right now. But just to kind of get back to where I was with the story. So, really, it's the stories of these young women that inspired me to evolve this business model beyond our success in book publishing to offer merchandise that support these women during this life stage. And right now, the only way you can get our product, and I have a sample here, is to support our Indiegogo campaign. This is the Gracie bag. And what we didn't say in the video, but all of our products, we're planning to name it after one of the girls we're helping with each new product release. So this one's actually supporting a woman named Gracie Stram, who's based here in Kansas City, a singer-songwriter. She gave us an inspirational quote that's actually in the inside of this bag. And we hope to be able to fund her with 1,000 dreams so she can make a music video. After our Indiegogo campaign wraps, you can get our product on our website. We're gonna have a pre-sale strategy, so we're not having to carry any inventory until we know we have enough support to make the product. And again, we're gonna be supporting a set number of scholarships with each new product release. We're also working with brand ambassadors. We have 30 young women across the country right now working with us to help support our Indiegogo campaign. We plan to grow this to 100 college campuses by the end of 2015. These girls are not only helping us raise awareness, they could potentially be selling for us. We also partner with like-minded organizations, nonprofits, who are looking for creative ways to help support their charitable activities and give us access to their supporters. Right now, we're partnered with the Women's Foundation of Greater Kansas City, and they helped us to identify several of the young women that we're funding with this first product, but they're also helping us forge an even larger partnership with other women's foundations across the country, again, giving us access to their thousands of supporters, potential YouSheet customers. And because of our success at retail, we are taking a real hard look at the retail space as another channel for our products. So you know more about our brand and our model. Where does that put us against the competition? We compete against other fashion companies. Think of any of those popular brands with young women today. We went out to our consumers and learned that to even compete against these guys, we've got to be fashionable, affordable, and we have to be functional. And we are all that. What we learned and the insights we gained in which we intend to act as a market disruptor. Give me a mission that aligns with my values and give me a way to get engaged with you in whatever level I choose. Those were the two insights we heard from our consumers that sets us apart from our competition. No other brand offers as an aligned mission or engaged community online like we do. So before I close, just a few last points. We are a social enterprise. We define our success by the good we do, the dreamers we fund. As a for-profit, our success is determined by our revenue growth. We have both a profitable and sustainable business model that allows us to empower these young women through their purchases they are already making. And why does this matter? So we can help more young women like the women you met in our video and those that will come after. If you're inspired in any way by what I'm doing, please consider supporting our Indiegogo campaign. I left a card on each one of your chair. It has more information on that. Thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to your questions.
All right, thank you very much. Great presentation. So tell us a little bit more about the process. If I am a young woman, which I'm not, but if I were, how would I submit to have my dream become a reality? And how do you evaluate and figure out who you're going to support?
It's a great idea. So we also have another partnership in place with the Kansas City Community Foundation. We have a foundation set up through them, and we just launched our scholarship application. So they essentially are providing us a private label program. So their staff manages and administrates our scholarship application. And just in terms of what are some of the things we're looking for, ultimately they provide us with the group that they think our advisory committee should consider. And then on my advisory committee, we make the ultimate decision. But we're looking for the dream, what in the obstacle standing in the way of that dream. So of course you have to prove financial need, but you also have to write an essay explaining what that dream is and how a scholarship from us would help you go for that goal, and a letter of recommendation.
This may be a crazy question, but is there any risk involved with funding dreams like this?
Well, of course. I think we obviously have not had to go through that challenge yet, but any scholarship program, right, that supports a student, of course, there could be are you implying that there could be the potential that we're not funding people that?
I was thinking about this as is there any concern that, maybe there would be, especially in the selection process, obviously with any scholarship, whoever the donor was or the foundation that's providing that scholarship has very strict guidelines and outlines about how that money can be used and where and on, which sometimes can open up for risk or sometimes can make a very small pool of people available to receive some of that money. It's gotten a little more complicated in America than it should, but that's a different subject.
And maybe that gets to what we found from our consumers, that it is difficult to find funding sources and support. But, we're confident that the process that we put in place, the partnership that we have with the Community Foundation in Kansas City, they have years of experience in managing these kind of scholarship funds, and we work with them to develop our application. So, I think there's always that potential risk, even as a business selling products, that something could go wrong. But you know, I truly believe in the good we're trying to do here and the need that we're trying to address through our model. So I'm excited to go forward, and risk there or not, you know, we'll handle it if we have to.
I'll say it's really smart to separate your company from a lot of those decisions and letting a nonprofit foundation make a lot of those decisions. I think that's how you minimize a lot of that risk. That's very smart.
Thank you. And you know, that's part of our strategy. We want to be working with like-minded partners who have those core competencies that we don't have as a business. I want to focus on running this business successfully. And you know, we have a charitable goal, but at the heart, you know, we have to be profitable in order to even do any of this that we're wanting to do. So that's right. We're you know, partnering where we can to help do those activities better.
So I think from a connection standpoint, the social good is awesome, but you know, you are a business, so I guess this is a chicken or the egg question. Did you start the business so that you could do this, or were you already in business and then you found the connection with social good? And can you share a little bit more about the strategy on the business side?
Definitely. So, you know, I talked a little bit about our success in the book publishing space. And, you know, as a business, that has been profitable and successful. And again, you know, it was this realization that there were few resources specifically geared to young women at this life stage. And, you know, I had gone on, I actually, you know, before I moved back here to Kansas City where I grew up, I was reporting for USA Today. I was their philanthropy, cause marketing expert, and saw all of this incredible social innovation where companies were launching to address societal problems and doing very successfully doing it. I interviewed Tom Shoes founder, and you know, I was so inspired by that. So when I moved back to Kansas City and I was trying to figure out what was going to be my next chapter, I took a hard look at the success I've had with YouChic as a book business. What could we do bigger than that potentially? I had heard from so many of the young women we've worked with that this funding issue is a really big challenge. So that's when I started to think a little bit bigger about our model and what else could we do to really help her besides just providing her content. And I didn't mention this, but all of our content, we'll continue to publish books, features advice written for and by young women. So all of our advice is actually being written by young women in college and in high school. And so, you know, we've been giving them that work experience from the very first day we got started.
I wanted to ask a little bit more about your design and manufacturing process. Who's doing the designing right now? And then you mentioned earlier too that you're not manufacturing until you know you have sales. Can you talk a little bit more about that model and as well as where you're manufacturing currently?
Well, we have a strategic partner in place who has connections and has actually connected us with a manufacturer for this first product, and we plan to work with them going forward. We've had, you know, a very successful relationship to date. On the design side of it, this is where I get really excited because our model has always been about involving young women in everything we do. So I'm, you know, really building out our social media platforms to be able to bring more of our young women in. We have a brand ambassador program now in place that any of you guys could consider applying to. We want to be getting their ideas for our designs and getting their feedback. So before we even plan to make anything, we're going to, you know, design a product, and the concept would be to put it up on our website, put it up on our social media channels, and get votes, and ultimately start building that awareness and potentially customer for our products as we go. And you know, you look to the retail space and some of the innovation taking place there, you see these social commerce companies. There's a company called Lolly Wally Doodle. It's a children's clothing company, and that's exactly what they do. They use Facebook to determine which products they're going to actually make, and this woman who founded it has been just wildly successful. So we're going to be utilizing some of that going forward. But to get started, this bag, we actually worked with the designer in New York to come up with the design and, you know, get something that we felt confident about releasing. But we do have a quote from one of our girls, so they are featured in it.
Is there any interest in sort of the individuals? I know you mentioned there's 30 women across the country that are helping you as brand ambassadors, but is there any interest as an individual who's trying to raise money for, let's say, study abroad, which is very expensive, and they're reaching a fundraising goal and they're using a number of different avenues to do that? Could this essentially be one of those where they could sell your product and individually receive the benefit towards their dream?
Yeah, I mean, I think our brand ambassador program has the potential to do that. You know, we're going to really, get to know these girls. And for to date, we're so used to working with them as bloggers and content. So, right now we're just having them engage with us with this Indiegogo campaign on social media. We're asking them to tweet out ideas and how, their friends can donate at small levels. So we're just kind of getting started, but ultimately we do have that potential to go that direct sales route where we're truly empowering our girls, and we'd have to, be concerned about the age range. So probably our college ambassadors would be the ones most able to do that, but I definitely see that as something we could get into.
So you mentioned that Gracie is your first product. When can we expect new products to come out? What type of timeline? And will the old ones get, are they limited, I guess, for a
They are.
limited
That's a great question. So that's another part of the strategy, part of the pre-sales process. We're going to only make a set number of our products. So, that added element of scarcity. If one of you girls here in the audience got one of our products, you could say, I'm only one of so many girls that got this product. So that's part of the plan. In terms of our next product, we actually do have a design ready to go. I'll just say it, we want to do a tote bag that coordinates with the Gracie case, so you could put that inside it, and looking to probably release that in spring, right before graduation. Our books business, we've had a lot of success at certain times of the year, graduation, back to school season. So we envision that that's probably gonna be about the same times that we're gonna get a lot of interest in our products, holidays as well, so.
We're going to open up questions to the audience. Do you have one, Lance?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I'll
go
get
for
the
it.
audience started. So talk to us, this is a three-parter since I'm about to get cut off. One, what is the cost for a handbag? Two, how much of your profits is going towards the dream versus back into the business? And finally, as a startup, we know the challenges of starting your own brand, starting your own company. With taking that kind of percentage out of your company as you're trying to grow, what kind of challenges does that present, and how are you guys kind of overcoming those?
Great question. So let's see, the first one, a few more details around our Indiegogo campaign. We're out to raise $27,000. We have 3 weeks left to go. And with that money, we're gonna fund the production cost of this bag. And we're also gonna fund our first set of scholarships. So there are 12 young women who will be funded at $1,000 each. You can go to our Indiegogo page, you can read about all their dreams. And so to do that, we've got our first product available, which you can get for $34 as an early bird special, and we have a few of those left. So that's that answer. And then the second one.
So you said about you're trying to raise 27 and 12 is going to go to the girls.
Correct.
So you're looking at 40 to 50% of profits out the door.
Out the gate for this campaign, right?
Okay.
But going forward, and we've been doing some price testing, and so, we're looking to be able to do about a 15% donation to our foundation on each new product release. That's not set in stone, but, we can kind of play around with the price a little bit, and we were still able to generate some good conversion on that, just testing it out. But again, your question about, right, having to donate this percent, that's money out of the pocket. And I've talked to Tom Shoes about this in the past, and he told me, Blake McCoskey, that the good that they're doing, the buy one give one model, they actually view that cost as a part of their marketing budget. So the truth is, by connecting what we're doing so closely to our consumers and sharing the good that we're doing, the impact we're having, we do view that as a strong way that we can really market this product.
We've got a question here on your left. In the middle?
Yes.
I really, really love what you're doing, and I'm wondering if you're connecting with any nonprofits directly, and then also our young Latinas are going to look at the term dreamer a little differently, and so I'm wondering if you've thought about that and how you might work with the community of color to get first-generation college students funded.
Great questions. We are working with the Women's Foundation here in Kansas City. And I truly, again, believe that the more we can partner with these like-minded organizations, here's the truth and why funding is so difficult. Charitable giving dollars, when you look at all of the amount that goes to all of these causes, only 7% actually goes to women and girls issues. So, you know, and then you talk about specifically my consumer, there's very few dollars going to her and her needs. So, you know, I think in some ways we're trying to create something that could be an innovative way for nonprofits to partner with us and find additional funding sources for their charitable activities. I totally envision that. So, you know, that's why right away I started networking with the Women's Foundation, and they have become a partner of ours. They shared our launch with their membership base. We're doing an event coming up, and a lot of the young women in this campaign right now actually came from a program. So great partnership. And I think, you know, just working with any young woman of diverse backgrounds and interests and color, we have all, you know, goals of helping, you know, anyone, you know, really with a dream and a lack of funding to get there. And, you know, we want to be that place. And, you know, part of what I'm doing as well as, you know, I'm here speaking today. I'm also speaking to schools. I will be speaking at Paseo coming up. And I do have another presentation in another school coming up. So, you know, if you guys are, you know, in school and you're involved in any student activities and you're looking for a speaker and you'd like for someone to come and present, I'd be happy to. And, you know, your question about the word dreamer, I mean, I agree. I think in some ways, the idea of a dreamer, you know, could sound, you know, dreamer. They're not going to go for their dreams. That's not possible. You know, at this life stage, anything is possible. And I truly believe it's the lack of access to those opportunities, the funding to get there, that can be that closed door. And so we don't want any closed doors. And, you know, as a company and a founder of this, you know, my goal is to open as many doors as possible for young women.
Question here on your right.
Thank you for an engaging presentation. And thank you for becoming an entrepreneur instead of a lawyer. I think you've established your why here very well, and you're obviously very passionate about it. What I'm struggling with is your how, right? So when you were going through your presentation, at first I thought, okay, these young women are going to be able to use this as a medium in order to achieve their dream. They're going to be personal sales representatives, right? They're going to be selling these like you would a Girl Scout model or something like that. But that's not the case. If I understand correctly. Not yet. Okay, so you have something.
We are a startup. We are very, very early stage with this.
So given those facts, essentially this entire thing comes back to the product, right? You have to sell the product in order to create these funds, and therefore you're entering into this entire different world that's extremely challenging, the world of retail, and you've sort of glazed over that with, well, this is what we want the products to be. I can't remember, there was like a trifecta you had there, affordable and functional and something else. But really without having a unique product that you know is going to succeed in the marketplace, none of the rest of this really holds water, right? So that's what makes me really nervous for this, is that there's a whole element of being able to be successful in a retail environment that's just sort of been glazed over because you've been focusing on the why. Does that make sense?
Actually, you know, I hear what you're saying, but, you know, our strategy is not to go straight to retail right away and for that to be our primary channel right out the gate. I mean, I'm looking to build this organically, and we'll be doing this, you know, online and controlling our manufacturing process. We're not going to be carrying inventory, and we'll be minimizing our costs by doing that. I do believe, you know, our product and our brand offers something that other brands currently aren't. If you think any of the popular brands young women are carrying these days, you know, they aren't supporting our consumer in the unique way we are. So I think in some ways, you know, it's the product plus that we're offering. And, you know, the opportunity to, as a consumer, know that I'm involved with this company, I'm supporting this company, or I'm getting my mom to help support this company because this company is doing good for maybe not myself, but for young women like myself. Maybe I contributed an idea that I'm really excited about and they actually ran with it, and now they're getting it made. There are those aspects, what we're doing, that in talking with our consumers are really appealing and no one else is doing. So, you know, those are where we tend to stand out. That's what we stand out on from our competition. In terms of getting into retail, you know, we don't actually have to continue to make every new product going forward. If we reach a certain threshold, you know, there is the potential for licensing and partnerships with other companies that manufacture and can distribute our products at retail. But you know, I think you look, and I just think of Vera Bradley, but you read the story of that company, and that's one of the most popular brands right now with young women. The founders of that were two ladies who were at the airport and saw, you know, airport luggage, not stylish, and so essentially what they're offering is the same thing, but they're offering something else that they knew women like themselves would really find appealing. We're trying to do the same thing with our specific consumer.
Okay, real quick, we're running out of time. But what can we do as a community to help you?
Support our Indiegogo campaign would be awesome, and I left cards on your chairs, and at any donation level, even if it's simply sharing our campaign, the campaign's called 1,000 Dreams, the hashtag 1,000 Dreams is what you could do to share it, and any of that support would be awesome. So,
thank you, Christy,
Thank
for
you.
presenting today. Thank you for everybody that attended today, especially the Northland Caps. So thanks for coming, and hope you got some info and learned a little bit about entrepreneurship today. We are looking for panelists, so if you guys ever want to be a panelist or if you know of somebody that would be good, please let us know. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Go Royals!